The year is 1967. The Cold War is at its peak. Washington and Moscow are locked in a deadly game of shadows. Spies, secrets, assassinations. Every whisper matters. Every conversation could tip the balance of world power. Now, what if I told you that the CIA, the most powerful intelligence agency on Earth, once spent over $20 million trying to turn a house cat into a cyborg spy? Yes, a cat. Implanted with a microphone in its ear, a radio transmitter in its skull, an antenna running through its tail. This isn't a parody. This isn't a what if. This was a real CIA project with a code name straight out of science fiction. Acoustic Kitty. And the result? Let's just say this may be the most expensive and the most bizarre cat video in history. Stay tuned, because this is one of the strangest spy stories you've never heard. To understand how anyone could possibly think this was a good idea, we need to rewind to the Cold War era. The 1960s were tense. The world had come terrifyingly close to nuclear war during the Cuban Missile Crisis. American leaders were obsessed with keeping an eye on the Soviet Union. Every meeting, every negotiation, every back-alley conversation between Soviet officials was seen as potentially life-or-death intelligence. The CIA was desperate for new ways to eavesdrop, ways the KGB wouldn't suspect. Bugs in buildings could be detected. Human informants could be caught. Wires and hidden transmitters were often discovered, so someone inside Langley asked the question that would change history. Well, at least for cats. What if we used animals? Enter Acoustic Kitty. The CIA launched a project to surgically modify a living cat into the ultimate mobile listening device. Here's what they did. Surgeons implanted a tiny microphone inside the cat's ear canal. A small radio transmitter was embedded at the base of its skull. And the most insane part? A thin antenna was run along the length of the cat's spine and into its tail. The idea was simple, on paper. Cats are naturally stealthy. They wander unnoticed. Nobody questions a stray cat weaving its way through a park bench or under a cafe table. So why not train a cat to sit near Soviet officials while their conversations were secretly recorded and transmitted back to CIA handlers? To the CIA's top brass, this sounded brilliant. To anyone else, it sounded insane. But this was the Cold War. And in the Cold War, even insane ideas got millions of dollars in funding. Now, as any cat owner will tell you, the CIA's first mistake was assuming cats can be trained to do anything on command. Dogs? Maybe. Pigeons? Possibly. But cats? Good luck. Still, the CIA was determined. They hired animal trainers, behavior specialists, and of course, surgeons. The cat was trained to obey commands, to sit near targets, to ignore distractions like food or other animals. Spoiler, it didn't go very well. But in 1967, after years of preparation and millions of dollars spent, the CIA decided it was time to unleash their high-tech feline spy on its first mission. The location, a park in Washington, D.C. The target, two men believed to be Soviet diplomats. The plan, release Acoustic Kitty near the bench where the Soviets were talking. The cat would innocently wander close, settle down, and record their conversation without arousing suspicion. The agents held their breath. The cat was released. And what happened next would turn this project into one of the greatest fiascos in CIA history. Acoustic Kitty looked around and immediately wandered toward the street. Within seconds, the cat ran directly into traffic and was hit by a taxi. $20 million of CIA technology, years of planning, countless hours of training. Gone in less than a minute. The mission was over. Now, some later reports suggest that the cat may have survived the accident, though badly injured, and was later put down. Other accounts claim the taxi strike killed the project instantly, literally. Either way, one thing is certain. The CIA quickly realized that cats were, well, not exactly reliable intelligence assets. The project was scrapped, the documents were filed away, classified for decades. And Acoustic Kitty became just another absurd footnote in the long history of Cold War paranoia. You might be laughing, and honestly, it is funny in a dark way. But Acoustic Kitty is more than just a ridiculous story about spies and cats. It's a window into how desperate intelligence agencies were during the Cold War. They were willing to try anything, no matter how absurd or unethical, if it meant gaining even the slightest advantage over the Soviets. Think about it. The CIA wasn't just experimenting with cats. This was the same era of MK Ultra, where they dosed unsuspecting people with LSD to see if they could control minds. It was the era of brainwashing fears of spy gadgets straight out of James Bond. In that context, a $20 million spy cat didn't sound so crazy. It sounded possible. Today, the story of Acoustic Kitty is mostly told as a joke, an example of government waste or of how technology can't always bend nature to its will. But it also raises deeper questions. How far should governments go in the name of national security? What other bizarre experiments have been hidden away in classified archives? And most importantly, did the CIA really think a cat would take orders better than a dog? One thing's for sure, Acoustic Kitty didn't change the course of the Cold War, but it did prove one eternal truth. You can't control a cat. So the next time you see your cat knock something off a table, remember, at least it didn't cost taxpayers $20 million. But Acoustic Kitty leaves us with a bigger lesson. In times of fear and paranoia, governments will try almost anything. And the strangest stories often turn out to be true. If you enjoyed this dive into one of the CIA's most bizarre projects, don't forget to like this video if you laughed or shook your head in disbelief. Subscribe to Bizarre Blips for more unbelievable true stories from history's weirdest corners. And hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next strange tale that proves reality is stranger than fiction. This was the story of Acoustic Kitty, the $20 million spy cat that failed in the most spectacular way possible. Thanks for watching. And remember, trust no one, not even your cat.